We were literally just having a conversation about Loki, and we decided we need to record it for the show. I'm the infamous Orion. I'm the Schmo.
I'm Kyrie and I'm a Schmo.
Okay, so real talk about President Loki.
Yeah.
Loved it. Loved President Loki.
Yes. It's a good
But
bait and switch.
yeah, good bait and switch. I wish they didn't have all these radically different Lokis beside him. I would have
hmm
rather they've not hinted that those were Lokis and just said they were just random survivors as well.
Yep.
Or, and here's the better
Well,
one for you: if we're going to embrace the insanity, make them all Tom Hiddleston.
yeah, that's the thing that I kind of struggle with too, is that they like the idea that there's all these different Lokis and they can be that different isn't a problem, but given how close we are, I know that they're not going to give an answer as to why it is that way, and I want to know why it is the way that it is.
I
Because it
agree.
doesn't really make sense. It's just like there's a disconnect somewhere.
Like when you have your main Lokis, they kind of explain why they differentiate. But
Yep.
like when you have like all these radically different Lokis, and you have to give an explanation for each one, otherwise we feel like we're missing out on context.
Yep.
Like I liked Kid Loki. He killed Thor.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really good. There's that was a really good moment of just like he killed Thor, cut to nothing. Oh shit.
Old Loki was very good. I did like old
I
Loki.
agree. I really liked his. I mean, it's a very brief story, but it's a good one,
It
and it helps set up. It helps to really cement. I guess is the word for it. Cements what the role of Loki is on the timeline. So
yeah,
to say.
which is kind of sad and depressing when you think about it.
Yeah. Loki is there explicitly to die as a motivation for Thor to proceed with his story. That's
Yeah,
basically it. Everything else is just window dressing.
he literally can't do anything but die. The most he
Yep.
contributes to the universe is die.
The closest he can get to not dying is making it so that everyone thinks that he's dead. And then
Yeah.
the second he decides that maybe everyone doesn't need to think I'm dead, doesn't even have to do anything, just thinks about it, pulls the plug.
Whoa, whoa, whoa there, space traveler. Party foul. Going to
Yeah.
TVA. Get pruned. Oh, I also have just a really weird question about the TVA now because it kind of seems superfluous.
hmm
Why don't they just prune them the moment they start variating and not go through all the bureaucracy stuff?
That is a good question. I would presume that there must be. I feel like that this comes down to sort of the other concepts that we're talking about is that we know that all of the TVA agents themselves are variants. So there must be some part of their process that helps to determine whether or not a variant can actually be an asset or not
That's what I was thinking as well,
for
but
them. It's something must happen at some point that can change that. But yeah, from what we've seen, it doesn't really make sense.
yeah. It's really weird and I want more answers and I do understand your criticism you said earlier before we were recording about this raises too many
Yeah.
questions.
I know we're almost guaranteed to get another season at this point, just because of the number of questions they're raising. With all the other series that we've seen, they've pretty neatly tied everything up in the end. Even like WandaVision had some hanging questions, but they were all pretty centralized around Wanda and her experiences. There weren't these larger questions that were hanging over.
All the answers to WandaVision, dude, is it was Agatha all along.
It
And that's how they're going to do Loki. It was Agatha all along.
was
Agatha is
like
our
that all
Thanos.
along.
Yes. Agatha for new Thanos. She's purple. She's got purple magic. It
hmm
makes sense.
Yep.
You're all welcome. Also another interesting thing I found about just this episode in general. I found Owen Wilson going on his little diatribe about if the alligator is Loki or not.
Yes.
Charming. Peak Owen Wilson.
Very. I I really hope he doesn't die or in any other way become removed from the story at the end of this because it's really refreshing having just Owen Wilson there.
He is such a breath of fresh air for the MCU in general.
He really is.
He's just so damn likable.
Yeah.
Why is he so likable?
I have thoughts. I have one last wild prediction before we get to the finale.
It's an Owen Wilson variant running everything.
Well, I was gonna say I think it might just be just Owen Wilson
Ooh,
because he seems to be the only one at the TVA that at all
question?
cares
Yeah,
about the chaos energy or whatever of the two of them meeting. Like, it seemed like he was the only one that even considered that as anything at all.
yeah.
Yeah. So I
It,
wouldn't be surprised if they just get there and it's just like big reveal. It was Owen all along. And
oh,
come on, the dude's name is Mobius. All the other people have like numbers or at least realistic enough sounding names. He's like literally like, come on, it's Mobius. That's a villain name. It could be a villain name at least.
if I remember right, I think Mobius in the comics was just kind of like this bystander to everything.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's a Mobius strip.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I'm I have much less to back up that theory than the other ones that I've had, but that's about as I think as out of left field as you can
I,
take it. And it wouldn't surprise me too much to see them go with that, just from how it would
you see,
fit in a narrative sense.
I've had this idea that it was Kang all along because
Yep.
foreshadowing and all that crap. But now I'm
Yep.
starting to wonder if it's a Loki all along.
I feel like that's the other likely one. Yeah.
Yeah. But it would make no sense to have it be a Loki.
Yep. I'm I still I don't really think it could be a Loki just because it would have I don't know, like the way that I think of it is that as far as we know at least, all of the variants are even though there's seemingly infinite variation, there's still a relative containment on how they differ. And
Yeah.
I can't see a Loki being at that level. I think the realistic, the most likely answer is that we're going to see like a Celestial or something like that.
I mean,
Because it's not the first time. It's almost definitely not going to be the last with the storylines that they've been teasing at.
oh yeah, no.
So,
I have a
yep.
lot of big theories about where the MCU is going, and I have factual evidence for all of it.
Yep.
Uh yeah. Uh what if it's a Thor variant?
That would certainly be unexpected.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect that. I think that would not serve the story particularly well.
Did you see Thor Frog?
Thor Frog. I saw the Thor in the jar.
Yeah, that's a Thor Frog.
Okay. I
He's
didn't notice it was anything more than just a Thor.
yep, he's beautiful. Thank you.
Cool. Neat. Yes.
By the way, that was Chris Hemsworth voicing him in that episode.
Of course it is.
Yeah, you
Who
got
else could you get?
nobody. Freaking maniacs. Yeah. So Loki, please don't fall in your face.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the thing I've realized about this show is the more I watch it, the more I realize it is written like a comic book, and I think that's why most people
Yep.
are liking it a lot more.
Yep. It definitely feels more like a Marvel movie than a Marvel TV show so far.
Oh yeah, 1000%. But granted,
I'll be
we've
very
only had
curious.
two other examples of a Marvel TV show.
That's true. I'll be very curious to see how long the last episode is, if they keep it at the same length or if they go for an extended one.
It's got to be extended. I don't know how you could wrap
I feel
everything
like
up.
right, like I feel like the potential events that could happen in this last episode are definitely big enough that they could be a whole movie or at least a short feature film.
Yeah, because you've got the A plot with Loki and Sylvie going to fight whoever is in the big tower.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got that B plot of Mobius in the Time Variance Authority.
Yep.
And if you really wanted to, you could make a C plot with Kid Loki, Alligator Loki.
Potentially, I think I would my primary expectation would be that if they do go, if and or when they go to a season two, I would expect that to be more the wrapping up of the TVA side of it, in a similar way to how um, Civil War started off with them sort of wrapping up uh, the Hydra factions that were still left, even though they weren't really Hydra at that point.
Good point.
The sort of loose radicals that were still out there in support of the concepts and causes they supported before, even though they didn't have the backing that they used to have.
So there's this popular consensus I've seen running around lately.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you'll have an opinion on this. I already have an opinion
Mm.
on this. What do you think of the comparisons of Loki to Doctor Who?
Loki to Doctor Who. At like a very high level, sure. Like broad strokes, it's kind of been the same idea so far, but it seems more like Loki is ending with. It'd be like if Doctor Who was building towards the destruction of the Doctors and the TARDISes, you know?
Yeah.
It would be a bit of like a turnaround. Like, it definitely plays with the same concepts. That's for
I
sure.
agree. I feel like, in much of a way that Loki is about variance and whatnot, this is kind of a
Mhm.
variation of the Doctor Who formula.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have a literal god go time traveling with friends, and they go mess with events, and that's kind of just a surface level comparison. I do think Loki does develop into this very not exactly one to one the Doctor kind of character, but he does become more seasoned in this kind of stuff by the end.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Where what was it? Like he said that there's an alligator in this room and I'm not even that surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Doctor Who line.
Yep.
Yeah. I I don't
I
know.
I for my thought on it, I would be curious if they do go to a season two, whether or not they're going to keep time travel as a constant theme through it, and if they don't, I don't think that those sorts of Doctor Who parallels are going to hold up as much as it's more just this common sort of. I mean, they are sci-fi tropes that Doctor Who definitely helped to establish, just because it's been around for so long. But I think having those tropes and that same or similar style of writing isn't enough to say that one is in any way like derivative of the other on its own.
I 1000% agree. Although I would love to see like this show has been consistently good
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Who stories.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, absolutely.
You just put in different
I'm
characters.
curious. There can't be that many Loki writers that have worked on this.
There's
I'm
probably
curious if there's any connections. I'm pretty
oh,
sure there's
like
only. I know
staff.
there's the one lead writer,
Huh.
but I don't know who all has worked on it. I wouldn't be surprised if same or similar people have been all connected in some way,
Yeah. I
just
could
because that's how business works.
I could feel like how do I put this? What if it's Matt Smith or Peter Capaldi as the main villain of this series?
That would be certainly an unexpected direction.
I won't say David Tennant because David Tennant can never be a villain.
Yeah.
I definitely want. I don't know.
So here's something interesting.
Go on.
Head writer Michael Waldron
Yeah.
is also listed as the writer for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Not too surprising, but
Damn.
I think interesting all the same.
Yeah. So he definitely knows what he's playing with.
Oh yeah.
Hmm. Indeed.
Most of the writers seem to be pretty unrelated. Oh, this person was an additional crew, assistant to executive producers for 58 episodes of Bones.
Bones.
Yeah, the murder crime drama thing.
Okay,
That
question
is a
mark.
jump. Yeah. That's very different.
Next thing you'll say is someone wrote it for House.
I
Is House still going on?
have no idea. I don't think so.
Like a lot of these big name like I mean regular TV murder mystery shows, I don't know if they exist anymore or not.
House is no longer running. It ended in 2012.
Okay. That went on way longer than I thought it did.
Hmm. And it's not because there's a lot of them too that have had plenty of spin-offs.
Yes.
You can't like having House without House, doesn't really work. It's kind of the namesake.
House, then home.
Yeah.
No, it's about House and he's a homeless bum because he like just lost all of his money and whatnot. And you call it
Mm.
houseless,
Useless.
homeless. I don't know.
I'm very excited for this last episode though.
I am too.
It is
I have high
it
hopes.
is it's like edge of the seat, like, oh man, what's gonna happen?
And if it doesn't turn out exactly how I want it, we ride on Marvel. End of
Yes, we
MCU.
do.
No more.
Yes, we do.
It was fun while it lasted.
I did particularly enjoy the end of episode 5. Having old Loki sort of just like really show how good he is
Oh yeah.
was pretty damn cool.
It it's really cool because it reminds me in a way of like in Ragnarok how Thor really kind of embraced his god powers and he was doing messed up stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's very similar to that in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I also kind of found it a little touching that he conjures up a image of Asgard.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's the home he couldn't go back to.
Yeah.
Also, another thing for you, right?
Mm.
I've heard someone suggest this idea, and I want to hear your idea.
All right.
So, we know Tom Hiddleston is not going to be in Thor and Love and Thunder.
Yes.
But what do you think the idea of Sylvie being in Thor Love and Thunder?
I wouldn't be against it at all,
No, I think that's
but
a
I
really
would
interesting idea.
I'd personally much rather just see both of them reprising their same roles in some sort of Loki 2, season 2 kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not sure how you could do both, but whatever, I don't even know what phase we're on. Phase 4? Is that
Yeah.
where we're at?
Yeah.
I not knowing really at all other than very broad concepts what's going to happen in phase 4, it's hard to say if that would be not possible.
True.
I think it'd be interesting. Um Yeah, I think we're gonna have to just sort of have to wait and see where they go with it in the next episode.
I feel like the only way you can really end this is to have Loki and Sylvie get split up.
Could be. I'm. I really don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different options. I want to know. The alligator one is confusing though, isn't it?
Isn't
It's
it?
like how where did this like presumably they can actually talk to the alligator, right?
Yeah, the
So
alligator
they're not
understands
making that
them.
up.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I don't know. It's weird. It's just weird.
I just want to know why did he stay an alligator when like President Loki's at their door and he's obviously about to kill him.
Well, presumably because he is an alligator.
So is he just permanently an alligator?
Well, I would assume that it's like well, my assumption was that alligator Loki was always an alligator because he must come from a multiverse where like everyone is alligators.
So the TVA said no.
So, yeah, I mean basically. So it's just like I don't know. I don't get why alligator Loki in particular would be the breaking point for something like that. But yeah, I don't know.
Unless he's just been hanging out in the wastelands for that long, he just keeps surviving on his alligator powers alone.
It could be. But he's a small, relatively small alligator.
He is very small.
So I don't know.
Also, I love that he just jumps up and bites President Loki's hand off.
Yeah.
Hilarious. President Loki was amazing.
Hmm. I don't know. I'm usually not a fan of bait and switch kind of things like that, but I think they played it well.
Yeah,
They didn't actually manipulate anything in the show
no.
from what they showed in the trailers. And I'm not a fan of it the same way that they did with the shot on the apocalypse moon with Sylvie's back to the camera that looked a lot like Black Widow.
Yeah.
It was a bit cheap to do that, but it was definitely effective and it drummed up conversation. They didn't actually edit anything. I'm pretty sure they were just panned out more in the shot that they showed in the trailer. So it's not like they didn't really lie. They just showed something out of context. I think that is a fair enough place to draw a line.
Yes. Subverts your expectations. That's what you
Yeah,
get for having expectations.
I guess so.
Speaking of Black Widow, that happened.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna plan to go and see it in theaters because
Oh,
it seems like
I
I
thought you
haven't
already.
seen it yet.
Okay, I thought you
No,
already did.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm planning to do it this week. Haven't had the opportunity yet because it came out, it can't come out on the 9th, and then I was working.
Fair enough.
But I'm gonna catch it this week. Try and catch a midday showing so I can get a cheap ticket or something. Um, but it looked good. I've heard a bit of mixed reviews on it, but still mostly positive.
I heard it's a lot like Doctor Strange 1, where it's
Yep.
just a basic superhero movie.
Yep. I think it's interesting. It's an interesting idea, and especially now that they're, I guess, going back and showing some of these stories from in between Civil War and Infinity War. Is it between Civil War and Infinity War, or Infinity War and Endgame?
Civil War and Infinity War.
Okay, that's what I thought. I Two different periods of time, but they kind of had similar things happening with for the superheroes involved, at least.
Yep.
But I don't know, I think it's interesting. But it also, I don't know. I'll have to wait and see it. It feels a bit contradictory to what we've heard about Romanov's character in the past.
Does it now?
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, okay. I will give you one small spoiler because I just want to
Sure.
throw this out. This is
Yeah,
what I've
personally,
heard.
I don't really care about spoilers for this.
Yeah.
I'm going to see it because it looks like a fun action type movie. I'm not super invested in the plot wise side of it.
You know how they keep referencing the Budapest incident with Hawkeye and
Mm-hmm.
Black Widow throughout the series?
Mm-hmm.
I am told that the Budapest incident is elaborated on in this movie.
Okay.
And
Fair
what
enough.
I've heard the Budapest incident is, it sounds like a completely better movie than what Black Widow turned out.
Well, hey, hopefully they'll make that movie at some point.
I mean, it
I
sounds
hope
like
they do. I think that with them killing off very popular and liked characters, going back and telling the stories that they either didn't have the time or that needed investment to set up the stakes for first,
yeah,
I'm totally here for that. I think this is a great way of sort of filling in some of the gaps between the larger story movies rather than just having, we don't need an Iron Man 1, 2, 3, Captain America 1, 2, 3, for every single character, having these all different kinds of filler pieces that still help to flesh out the universe are good in a different direction to take it.
fair enough. That's kind of how the comics work. Um,
Yep.
yeah, because what I understand, and tell me this doesn't sound cool to you, right?
Mm.
Hawkeye and Black Widow in a Die Hard movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
totally watched that.
basically the premise of the Budapest incident.
Like just 2 hours of Scarlett Johansson and oh fuck, I can't
Jeremy
remember his
Renner.
name now. Jeremy Renner, yeah. Just yeah, hell yeah. Why
Yeah,
not?
it's like a buddy cop movie like that.
Yeah.
Buddy cop Die Hard. I'd watch that.
I do think they're gonna have to be careful to not do too many buddy cop things sort of back to back.
Oh yeah.
They're at a bit of a critical mass for something like that at the moment, but like give it, like I mean realistically this is something that wouldn't be recent or coming out soon, so like 2 or 3 years it could be completely different.
I mean, you had Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which was buddy cop.
Yeah.
Loki is buddy cop.
Basically, yeah.
WandaVision is probably like the only thing this phase that is not body cop yet.
Yeah.
Oh well, they'll find a way.
Hmm. One thing I have heard about, what do you even call this? I guess it's just Black Widow. So is Black Widow technically the first movie of Phase 4?
Yes, which is
Even though it's not really tied into the story of Phase 4?
unless okay, unless the after credits give some kind of new context to Phase 4,
Yeah.
maybe, but
I feel like it'll have to in order to sort of justify its spot. Either the after credits will have to tie into it somehow, or whoever the villain is will, or something like that.
Nick Fury shows up to Black Widow's grave. I want to recruit you for the Avengers Initiative.
Basically.
God. Um,
I've heard though that David Harbour and Florence
Pew.
Poosh, I don't know how to pronounce that, Pugh, um, actually steal the show more than Scarlett Johansson does, just with better performances and the like. So, yeah, I'm interested to see it. David Harbour is a pretty well-known actor.
I don't know
Been in plenty
actors that
before.
well.
He was in Brokeback Mountain, End of Watch. What have I seen him in? I know I've seen him in plenty. Hellboy, apparently. Oh, that was a new one. Yeah.
So, did I tell you I've been having like a movie night with my girlfriend? I have like a couple movie reviews for this show that I've been holding back on
Hmm.
ever since Loki
I have not
started.
heard, but yeah, go ahead.
So, I saw Luca, the new Pixar film.
Yep. Yep.
Highly recommend it.
Yep.
Beautiful gay fish movie.
A fish movie.
Yes, I think Kanye West will love it.
Oh, what's? I thought Benicio del Toro. No, that's the wrong one.
Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro. I thought he already did that. I guess that wasn't the gay fish movie. That was just a fish movie.
Yeah, just fish love movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the gay fish love movie. You see, LGBTQ representation is moving at a much faster rate nowadays. So you get the straight version, then you get the gay version right after.
Nice.
Yes. No, but you could read a lot of gay undertones in this movie, and it's kind of funny that way because it's trying very hard to be an innocent slice of life film. Actually, this is an interesting comparison I'm about to make. It feels like a Ghibli movie at times,
Mm.
just in the sense that
No, I think that's totally fair. It's Disney, isn't
yeah, it's a
it? Disney
Pixar.
is very much the Ghibli of the West to a point.
Yeah, it's just that I feel like there is some very Miyazaki moves in some of these scenes.
Sure.
Yeah, and it's not like
I think that's
jarring.
totally fair.
Yeah, it's also very funny. Made me cry laughing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, After that, I saw The Soloist,
Okay.
which is Jamie Foxx, Robert Downey Jr. Now,
Yep.
look up the reviews of The Soloist right now, like on Rotten
I
Tomatoes.
was just about to. I remember the name, but I don't remember anything about the actual movie itself.
That's the crazy part about this, because like I've never heard this movie. Girlfriend made me watch it.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good.
Is it?
Yes,
It seems very mixed reviews.
I know, but just hear me out right here, okay?
Huh.
I
Yeah.
think
Okay.
this movie came out at the wrong time
Mm-hmm.
because this movie is it's very nuanced.
Mm-hmm.
It's about Jamie Foxx plays a schizophrenic man, homeless man who is very musically talented.
Yep.
And Robert Downey Jr. is a journalist writing a story about him. And they develop this friendship, and it kind of turns into a dependent relationship where Jamie Foxx is super dependent on Robert Downey Jr. to function. And Robert Downey Jr. wants to cure him, and like this larger statement about like wanting to get rid of his schizophrenia by putting him on medication, but he refuses to.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the critical reception was it has no narrative focus, and I disagree with that so much. It's very clearly trying to be a story about a codependent relationship and how it moves and forms into being a healthier friendship. Because there's like this thing where Robert Downey Jr.'s character has depression, and he's kind of leaning on Jamie Foxx's character to make himself feel better about himself, like like a savior complex.
Right.
And he's not going to feel better until Jamie Foxx feels better. But Jamie Foxx doesn't want to feel better. Jamie Foxx just wants to live his life.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like all this stuff about whether he can be cured or not, and it kind of just like it's a really complex issue. And they look
Yeah.
at it through so many different lenses. And I think the only reason this movie didn't do better, right, is because
Mm-hmm.
this was made in 2009 of all times when we weren't used
Yep.
to seeing mental illness portrayed like this. And it also came out the same year as The Blind Side,
Mm-hmm.
which we all know
I think
what?
I was gonna say there's also neither Jamie Foxx or Robert Downey Jr. at that point in their career were particularly, I mean, like at all, really known for making more of a serious film.
Yes. And I are like The Blind Side comes along and it's pretty much the same movie as The Blind Side almost to a certain degree. At least that's what my girlfriend tells me. I haven't seen it. Um,
Mm.
but it's not as uplifting as The Blind Side. I would just dare call it a more realistic version.
Yep.
Because there's one of my favorite parts about this movie, right? Is that the column that Robert Downey Jr. writes about Jamie Foxx is so good. The mayor of Los Angeles takes notice of it, and he makes this whole decree that he's going to up the funding to the street that Jamie Foxx lives on
Yep.
to clean it up because it's kind of like a gangbanger spot where drugs are being sold all over the place. Homeless people get beaten up for money, mugged all the time. And, that's fine and good. But then later on in the film, there's a police raid on that street. And you realize that's what the mayor meant by cleaning up the street. He's just going
Mm-hmm.
to throw cops at the problem and arrest everybody till it cleans itself out.
Yep.
And I was flipping out at that revelation because that is some hardcore, realistic depiction of how politicians think some stuff can get cleaned up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah. I recommend people just give this movie another try because I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, I think I looking at it now, I probably am thinking of something else from the title of it. But retrospectively, it's very interesting just to see where the cast has gone on to.
Yeah. These are big actors now. And this is
Oh
like
yeah.
Robert Downey during his comeback.
Yeah, like Iron Man was 2008, Sherlock Holmes 2009. Jamie Foxx was still like most known for like what stand up at this point.
I think so.
Like when did he Law Abiding Citizen? I can't remember that one too well. Miami Vice, but like nothing. Jarhead, Stealth. Oh God, Stealth. That was a movie. But you don't really get into more prominent things until you get to like Django Unchained, White House Down in the early teens, 2012, 2013.
Yeah. This was like, I don't know. This movie really sold me on Jamie Foxx. Like,
Mhm. Oh
and,
yeah.
and you know what's the best part about this movie?
Hmm.
It made me hate the Amazing Spider-Man just a little bit more because I realized his character in Amazing Spider-Man 2 is supposed to be a playoff of this character in The Soloist.
Really?
It's like a more Flanderized version of him.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny.
As if the Amazing Spider-Man 2 didn't need any more reason to hate it.
I mean, it's a ripoff of so many movies.
It's just a bad movie.
My girlfriend hasn't seen it, and I really want to force her to watch it.
I don't even know if I've sat through the whole thing.
I watched it in a theater, and at the end, the audience clapped.
I am glad to say that I've never been in a theater where it has ended with people applauding.
Yeah,
That is just so tacky.
I was like looking around. I'm like, how? Like obviously,
Why?
the main plot twist in Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the love interest dies, and I think
Sure.
that's what got everybody choked up because like, oh, death is so sad. Oh my god, so sad, so sad.
Mm.
I don't get it.
I don't either.
And then the third movie I've watched with my girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
little known film called Sexting in the Suburbs.
Okay.
So my girlfriend really loves watching Lifetime movies, and this was one of those Lifetime movies.
Hmm.
And
Unfortunate.
let me tell you this. She made me watch it just because she wanted to see my reaction to it 'cause she knew it was bad.
Okay. I guess that's a good enough reason to
It was the worst movie I've seen in my whole life.
really.
Yes.
What was your worst movie before this? Curious.
Good question. I think Love Happy by the Marx
I'm
Brothers.
happy. Hmm.
Um, but Sexting in the Suburbs is worse than Love Happy. Um, Purely because Love Happy has actual talent in it, and part of the reason I hate that movie is because it takes good talent and ruins it.
Hmm.
This movie has no talent and still somehow ruins it.
Wow.
So, the point of Sexting in the Suburbs is that there's a suburb.
Who could have guessed?
I know. And in said suburb is a young lady who goes to prom and she sexes her boyfriend after she refuses to have sex with him in real life. And this sex goes around the whole school. She gets bullied and picked on. And now I'm looking at this film, seeing it had an hour and a half runtime. That is bullshit. It should be 3 hours. It feels like 3 hours watching this thing. Um, Sexting in the suburbs. I'm sorry, Sexting in suburbia. My bad. Sexting in suburbia causes her to get suicidal from all the bullying, even though it does not show it escalate at all to that level. It's literally, I'm sad, go home. And this is the insulting part to me about this, because they didn't design this set for a legitimate way for her to off herself. She kills herself in like the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Okay.
And then the mom basically goes John Wick on this fucking high school,
Okay.
where she's trying to figure out who bullied her daughter, who released the sex image of her nude to the whole school, who put her through all this pain to cause her to kill herself. Which the way she kills herself makes no sense again, because she's in a room with a very tall ceiling, no fan at all, and she somehow hangs herself with a scarf.
Sure.
Yeah, makes no sense. But besides the logistics of it, it's basically suburban mom goes John Wick, and it decides it wants to do this like as a mystery, where they obviously have like Valley Girl bitch who is the suspect, and the mom just needs proof to like pin it on her. But there are like realistic adults the whole time who are like, "What are you gonna do? She's just a teenager. She didn't directly cause the murder. There's nothing you can do to her." And the mom's like, "I'm going to get my revenge." And then it goes on this stupid, like boring middle ground where it's trying so hard to make it like a mystery, because it starts like pulling the attention away from like the bitch Valley Girl to the best friend did it because the best friend was jealous, to it was the mom of the teenage Valley Girl using the best friend's phone to get rid of to send the sex out to the rest of the students, knowing it would ruin the reputation of her daughter, so that bitch Valley Girl could get #1 student athlete award and get her into college, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really stupid and overly complex. And I loved it. Mainly because, like, in the last 15 minutes of the film, they just, like, kind of lose all control of everything going on, and everybody's screaming at each other, and there's, like, this scene where Valley Girl feels bad about the girl dying because of her mom and whatnot, and she goes driving away to get away from her mom, and it results in her getting into a car accident and becoming disabled from the waist down. So the daughter,
What?
yeah. So the daughter, the Valley Girl, can no longer get that scholarship. And then the mom visits the Valley Girl in the hospital, and the evil mom, who's I'll just call her Karen. Karen is there, like crying that all this stuff that she did was for nothing. And the mom goes up to her and is like, "I'll see you in court." And then gives her like some summons for like under a soliciting porn of a minor,
Mhm.
which technically she did. And it's this glorious mess. I highly recommend it if you want to laugh.
I don't get this. I'm watching the trailer for it now with
Yeah.
the sound off. It's weirdly dated.
Isn't it?
Like this came out in 2012, but it's like flip phones.
Mm-hmm. They didn't have
Like
much of a
we were
budget.
well into smartphones by 2012. I don't know. It's weird.
Also, another thing for you. They have this big, like, sad scene where, like, they all apologize for bullying the daughter to suicide by putting all
Sure.
their flip phones in a bucket and pledge to no longer use them for the rest of the semester, even though they just had prom, so the semester is assumingly ending soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the movie teaches, like, preaches it as this triumphant success of the human spirit over this fake social media landscape.
It's just completely wrong too, because that's not how everyone is to blame.
Yes.
What the hell? I don't get it. It just seems like it completely doesn't understand its topic, its subject matter.
No, it's just John Wick for moms.
Apparently. But in 2012?
Yes.
What?
Yes. John Wick for moms. And, like, it was kind of funny to me because I kept making fun of it because obviously in 2012, we were still in high school.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we should know the dangers of all this stuff, but it's just kind of there. Not accurate at all to what being in school in 2012 was like.
Mm-hmm. Nope. So I'm skimming through an article here. Apparently, Rotten Tomatoes has been doing a Marvel villains showdown that has, of course, culminated in Thanos versus Loki.
Oh no.
It's weird to see who they picked for their various villains because they're from all over the place,
Okay.
from all sorts of different movie franchises.
Okay.
So there is how many different? There's at least two different Magnetos because both Fox, like original trilogy Magneto, and X-Men First Class Magneto made it to the semifinals. I don't know. But
I
then we also have like where'd it go?
I think that speaks more to the character of Magneto and how good he is.
Right. Where'd it go? It's like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man Sandman
Okay.
is in here too because why not? It's like, oh, are you a villain in a Marvel at all related franchise? Throw him in there. Prowler, I've never heard of. I guess that is from the Spider-Verse, but like I don't know. It's everywhere. It's all over the place.
Yes. I really hope they have like some really obscure picks in there. So they're only doing it from like main movies, right?
I have no idea. There's Kingpin Marvel movie? Question mark. It's just gonna come up with Spider Verse.
Hmm.
Is this from the Daredevil movie? They have Michael Clark's Kingpin from the Daredevil movie in 2003. I mean, that seems pretty unnecessarily obscure.
Yeah, because I would argue that Kingpin from the Daredevil TV show was much better.
Yeah. Like Michael Clark Duncan doesn't need to be in this.
I'm sure he doesn't want to be remembered in this.
No, that was not a good movie. No one wants to be remembered for Daredevil 2003.
Wake me up inside. Can't wake up.
Drake, I don't remember who Drake is. Apparently, no one else did either because he lost immediately. Silver Surfer. Oh no.
He wasn't a villain though.
Apparently, they call him a villain.
But he's not.
Dr. Rice? Like most of these I can place, but some of these are just like who? What? I guess that must be from Hulk movie, maybe? I
Maybe?
don't know. Who's seen that in the last 10 years?
Nobody.
Literally nobody.
That's why Marvel had to remind us Abomination was a thing in the Shang-Chi trailer.
Yeah. Bullseye, no idea.
Bullseye was from the Daredevil movie.
Sure, if you say so.
And I'm only saying that because I saw the Cosmonaut review of it like last night.
Mm-hmm.
Um, again, the Netflix show did a better version of Bullseye.
Like then they have people like Ghost. Like I find it really hard to call her a villain
I mean, she
compared
opposed
to
Ant-Man.
yeah, she was the anti person, so she must be like compared to literally the William Stryker, the actual military contractor.
Yes.
Who is the real villain here?
I would argue Disney.
You're not wrong. How the
By
hell would
that
Hela
logic,
be
they should
Red
put
Skull?
Tony Stark in there from like the first act of
Seriously,
Iron Man.
if you're gonna, I can't believe this. Apparently, Hela beat Red Skull. That's no,
You don't think Hela beats Red Skull?
no.
Link
Well,
me
because
to
this
this
isn't Who
because
Be Two. This is like a popularity thing. You
oh
know,
no.
Red Skull's a way better villain than Hela.
I'm sorry. Hela is more supposed to be like a force of nature.
Yeah,
Whereas
and
Red
she
Skull,
is.
yeah, she is, but she doesn't really have much of a character besides her like I'm just going to mess things up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Nomak. What the hell is Nomak? What?
Nomad?
Nomak.
Nomak. What's a Nomak?
Nomak is a genetically modified vampire.
I don't remember
If you
that.
say so.
Is that in Blade?
Blade, I guess. Apparently. They're really digging.
They really are.
Jared Nomak. From the Blade, oh, sorry, Blade 2, I guess. Because they made a sequel.
How many people have seen Blade 2?
I haven't. I didn't know it existed.
Yeah, I knew there was a Blade Trinity, but I did not know there was a Blade 2. Shame on me.
Like, I had heard of it. I didn't realize it was a Marvel franchise.
Blade?
Yeah. I mean, it's just been the movies, at least, is what I had first heard of it because, early 2000s. But, like, I don't know. It just feels like its own thing.
You know we're getting a Blade MCU movie, right?
I mean, I guess I would hope so to sort of tie it back together, right?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel like it's a Marvel cinematic piece. It's just its own thing.
One interesting thing to me about the MCU as of late is how they're trying to clean up the tracks left behind from not having the rights to certain characters in a while.
Yeah.
There is a rumor I heard that they're trying to find a way now that they own the Fox movies to integrate that as a multiverse into the MCU.
I kind of wish that they would. I really enjoy the X-Men trilogy. Like, it's very dated at this point, but they're still fun.
Oh yeah. I argue there are a lot of good things from the X-Men movies.
Yeah. Like, the actual movies themselves are kind of bad. I don't think anybody would question that. X-Men, the original one, which is more than 20. It can drink this year. It can legally drink in the US this year. It's
Yes.
that old. It's very old. Visually, does not hold up. Um, Story wise, it's it's old, but the characters that it made were really good.
Well, it's like those movies help define what we know as modern superhero movies because they really laid the
Mhm.
groundwork.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd argue there's no such thing as a good story in any of these movies, but the characters are why we keep coming back. The
Hmm.
development in the arcs of superheroes in superhero movies are what makes it
Yeah.
work.
Totally agree. I mean, just looking through the cast of the first X-Men movie, and it's no wonder because they did a really good job of finding the right actors for the roles. In the same way that it's hard to imagine literally anyone else as Iron Man other than Robert Downey Jr., it's hard to imagine anyone other than Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, anyone other than Ian McKellen as Magneto.
I will
You
say
can go
Michael
through basically the whole cast that way, and it feels like everybody was almost perfectly fit for their roles.
True. Um a big part of it to me is I wonder sometimes if it's because that these are the first characters we've really first actors to really hold on to the character that we see him this way. Because I know it's like several people, their first
Hmm.
introduction to these characters were through these movies.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
But then I also kind of want to retort this because I just came this came to my mind. Um, does anybody remember any of the actors' names from any of the failed Fantastic Four movies besides Chris Evans?
I was gonna say, besides that, I don't think so.
No.
God, the newer one comes up as Fantastic Four underscore film series.
Oh God.
I'm curious. I have a hard time even remembering who the hell was in them. Yeah. I mean, there are good actors that took part in these. Like Chris Evans, of course.
Yeah.
Clearly very talented, but they're just so forgettable. I think that's one of the big things with particularly the most recent Fantastic Four movie, is that Marvel, and to a point, I guess you could say DC, but Marvel especially, has set the bar visually so much higher than when the first Fantastic Four came out that you can't just get away with a more of like a B tier movie and just sort of get away with it.
Mm,
People have way better expectations for what to expect from movie visuals at this point.
yeah.
Let's talk about some new movies though, because
Oh,
we're actually getting some now.
yeah. We've been doing a lot of movie episodes lately.
Yeah, it's nice to have them back.
Yeah.
There's really two releases this week that are of any sort of note. I guess the big one is the new Space Jam movie is coming out Friday.
No.
What do you mean?
I've never liked Space Jam. Space
Me
Jam
neither.
is a waste of athletic talent.
I
It's
think you
a
can just.
waste
I
of
think it's just a
energy.
waste of talent.
Yeah. Everybody who works in Space Jam, any of the movies, doesn't matter how small your role, you deserve better. Space Jam is a hollow cash grab and has never been good. And if you will try to defend this movie, I'm sorry, you're wrong.
I really. This is a small nitpick. I don't like their cover, their poster. Like, I don't know. It's weird. Mike or LeBron James's face looks like almost photoshopped in it.
I'm sure he was.
It's just bizarre.
Let's see here.
The
Space
whole
Jam.
concept is kind of weird. But like, just I've just been flipping between the poster shot and some of their promo shots. And his beard, like if it wasn't for his beard, I wouldn't notice it, but the shape of his beard is wrong. The line of it on his cheeks. It's like it's almost been stretched out or something. I don't know.
Man, it really looks like he got like stuck in. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm looking at a poster for the junior novelization of the movie.
Okay.
And tell me why the lighting is more consistent on the Looney Tune characters than it is on LeBron.
What is this? I gotta open this up on full screen. Oh, I gotta zoom. This is tiny. Toon Squad. Because they had a cohesive art style and vision, and literally no one else did. It actually
Apparently,
looks more like they're probably just straight copying these from the original pieces, where their lighting is that there is no lighting,
yes.
because that's not at all what these characters look like in the actual movie.
I also find it really messed up. Okay, so like, this is going to be really nitpicky. But you see Marvin the Martian down there?
Yeah.
You see the highlight in his helmet?
Yeah.
Coming from a different light source than the nice oiled up physique of our athlete there.
Hmm. Yeah, LeBron James is clearly under just like straight studio lighting,
Yeah, I feel bad.
just every direction.
LeBron looks like he has pain in his eyes.
I would too.
Justice for LeBron.
Just keep thinking about the paycheck.
Just keeping.
Let's talk about what actually happens here. So, plot summary.
Oh
When
no.
LeBron James and his young son Dom are trapped, oh, we're going back to the Fast and the Furious. Um, and his young son Dom are trapped in a digital space by a rogue AI. LeBron must get them home safe by leading Bugs, Lola Bunny, and the whole gang of notoriously undisciplined Looney Tunes to victory over the AI's digitized champions on the court. A powered up roster of professional basketball stars as you've never seen them before. It's Tunes versus Goons in the highest stakes challenge of his life that will redefine LeBron's bond with his son and shine a light on the power of being yourself. This is really badly written. This is
We're
like not like, I mean, it hits all the things that it needs to, but like the words that they're choosing are hard to say fast in the order that they are.
yeah.
Like, define LeBron's bond. That's not easy to pronounce quickly.
They didn't expect anybody to actually read that, Kyril.
I don't think they did.
The same way that they wrote a new legacy on the very top of the movie poster,
Mm-hmm.
because we all know it's just gonna be called Space Jam 2.
Yep. It is. It's
More
Space
like
Jam 2.
more like Space Jam 2 soon.
Apparently, the AI is played by Don Cheadle.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I didn't know. Oh, it made the list for 95 most anticipated movies of 2021. Yeah, I have no stakes in this. I'm not at all interested. I don't even think I've seen a full trailer for it. Where is the one review here? Um, it's hard to not feel like you've been swimming in some Warner Brothers marketing executive's wet dream for 2 hours. 2.5 out of 5. Yeah.
There's a reason why this movie took forever to come out. It's because decency exists.
I mean, yeah, what are you going to do in a Space Jam 2 that you didn't do already in Space Jam? And apparently the answer is make it a father-son story.
I was actually about to say the real answer is shove in more branding.
Yeah.
This is
Which it seems they've done,
this is basketball Ready Player One.
basically. I
Yeah.
mean, so I'm just going to skim through. Oh, wait, what was that? Is that some. Oh, man. They couldn't get a Switch for the poor kid in this trailer. That's unfortunate.
What do you mean?
Nintendo's being stingy. He's got like one of those phone holder things that look like Switch controllers but aren't, because clearly Nintendo didn't want anything to do with this, and I don't blame them.
Based out of space jam.
All right, I'm gonna have to unmute this one sec.
Oh no.
That's really loud. So, what the hell is the point of this movie?
To make money.
Are you kidding me?
What?
So no way. I kind of want to see this now just to see if the inciting incident is this bad.
Oh no,
Do
what?
you want to take a guess what the inciting incident is that leads off the whole movie?
So he has to save his son?
Yeah.
The son was looking at porn.
Nope. What do you think happens that leads to his son being taken? What event would lead to your son being captured and taken into a digital world where you have to win no basically no stakes basketball game to get him back?
He posted too much TikTok?
No. They got off of the elevator on the wrong floor.
I'm gonna go throw up.
That's literally it. That's what they have in the trailer is LeBron wants his kid to be a basketball player because he thinks his kid's good at basketball. And the kid's just like, I don't want to do that. I want to do my own thing, which is fair. And because his kid's angry at them, the elevator that they're on opens and the kid just gets off and he's like, wait, wrong floor. And they end up in like a server farm, apparently, where kid gets zapped off into AIG Rhythm Land.
Oh, it's algae rhythm.
Oh, algae rhythm. Sorry,
Yeah, I remember that from the
but they
trailer.
have it. They literally have it AI.
Yeah.
They say trapped in a digital space by a rogue AI. So it's probably supposed to be algae rhythm, but then they've already said AI, so it's AIG rhythm now.
God. What a nightmare.
Yeah.
Can we please have Bill Murray come back for this one, though?
I wish. Do you remember? I'm gonna change gears here. Do you remember the movie Escape Room?
I do. Because I
Do you
saw
know they made a sequel?
they made a sequel.
They made a sequel. I don't know how, but this movie is rated PG-13. Like, this is literally Saw for kids. Escape Room Tournament of Champions
Mom
comes out
says we
this
can go
Friday.
see Escape Room.
I want to see Saw. We have Saw at home. Saw at home.
I mean, good on them for cutting into that untapped demographic.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that demographic is very untapped.
Uh,
I don't know. I've never fully understood the scale of the hype around the escape room concept.
like, I think they're cool. I would love to do an escape
Yeah,
room with friends, but
like I've done one as a work thing with some of the people my mom works with. They did one as like an after work get together kind of thing at
okay.
one that let you have alcohol, which is I think a defining factor in how successful it's going to be.
Yes.
But I don't know. It's it seems incredibly overhyped.
Doesn't it?
This is like the headcanon of somebody who's really good at like Jeopardy. And they're just like, what if there was this Saw thing? And because I just know so much, I'd be the only one to get out.
Dude, I got a great idea.
Okay,
Saw,
hit me.
but it's Ken Jennings as Jigsaw.
Why?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to my escape room. I hope you're all ready to answer questions in the form of a question. I would love it because Ken Jennings is like one of the most innocent looking people of all time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, just imagine him.
So what is this movie rated? This movie is rated PG-13. What is it rated PG-13 for? Like, what are the over/under on someone actually dying here? Slim. It must be slim. Terror, peril, strong language, and violence. I don't think you can show someone dying on screen and get away with a PG-13 rating. Do you?
No, you know it's going to be the scene where they're like someone gets killed and then everybody like just turns away so they can't see it.
Off-screen death.
Yes.
Yeah. I believe it.
Yo, I got an idea for a movie, right?
Mm,
We'll make so much money off of this with the preteen demographic.
okay.
It's Battle Royale, but Jigsaw. It's pretty much Hunger Games, Jigsaw, and Fortnite combined.
That just sounds like Tetris 99 with extra steps.
Yo, scratch that. Adding Tetris 99 on there. You have to build the blocks right or else the pieces squish you.
Yeah.
No, literally, just make escape room about video games. You'll get so many teenage boys in there.
Hmm?
If you
I'm
die
sure
in the
you would.
games, you die in real life.
See, I don't know.
What?
I would need to look into the pricing models of it, but I feel like a good portion of the profits from escape rooms has to come from the alcohol.
Oh yeah.
It's like bowling, you know? There are some people that I'm sure are there to bowl because they enjoy bowling and they're good at it. There's also people there that just want to go do a thing and drink with their friends.
Yep. And it all depends on how many kids you have in the divorce.
Yep.
Seriously, your bowling skills are more proportionate to the number of divorces you have. Fact.
I believe it.
Yeah. Like, look at me. I'm not even divorced, and I suck at bowling. But look at the guy that's balding down at the bowler rink. 3 divorces. All the kids are in his wife's custody, and all he can do is bowl. And he's a master.
There's another movie out here that I skimmed over, but actually sounds kind of interesting now that I'm reading about the plot
What is it?
because it has Karen Gillan in it.
Ooh. Speaking of Doctor
So
Who.
Sam, played by Karen Gillan, was only 12 years old when her mother Scarlet, an elite assassin, was forced to abandon her. Sam was raised by the Firm, the ruthless crime syndicate her mother worked for. Now, 15 years later, Sam has followed in her mother's footsteps and grown into a fierce hitwoman. She uses her talents to clean up the Firm's most dangerous messes. When a high-risk job goes wrong, Sam must choose between serving the Firm and protecting the life of an innocent 8-year-old girl. With a target on her back, Sam has only one chance to survive, reunite with her mother and her lethal associates, the librarians. These 3 generations of women must now learn to trust each other, stand up to the Firm and their army of henchmen, and raise hell against those who could take everything from me. What was that one? Is that, I don't think that's... Is it Brad Pitt? I think I got the wrong actor. Mr. and Mrs. Smith. That's the one I'm thinking of. I'm
Uh,
getting Mr. and Mrs. Smith vibes. Have you seen that?
no, but I remember the trailers being everywhere as a kid.
Oh, I highly recommend it. It's great, dumb fun. There's some just absolutely absurd scenes in it.
Okay.
But the okay, they just say adversarial agencies. The names of the agencies in this sound very familiar. Like, is this part of the Mr. and Mrs. Smith cinematic universe or something? For what it is worth, the movie is called Gunpowder Milkshake.
Gunpowder Milkshake.
Yeah.
What a
I
title.
can see this doing like not so great overall on release, but also being just a fun movie to sit through because I would assume Karen Gillan is just like what has she done that's not been at least entertaining, you know?
Nothing.
Yeah. Like the Jumanji movies, they're not good,
They're
but they're fun. I'm skimming her filmography now. Right, she was Nebula. Big Short, yeah. I don't know. And then of course, a not insignificant number or not insignificant portion of the current modern Doctor Who lexicon.
fair enough.
Yeah. Mr. and Mrs. Smith though. It's fun. I'm would definitely recommend watching that if you can for like not paying any money to see it.
Hmm.
It's like the movie equivalent of like a Call of Duty game. Just set piece after set piece after set piece. Very little story, but you don't really care because it's just enough to tie things together.
I thought that was the Fast and Furious franchise.
Nah, that's like the Need for Speed equivalent.
Oh yeah, you're right.
They're very close though.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, we have been getting some pretty lit Dom memes. So
We have. I actually watched a very interesting video today from Lucas Reykjavik, YouTuber. He put out a video about military shooters before Modern Warfare because he has a bunch of different retrospective type videos looking at, like X game Y years later kind of thing. So for this one, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, 12 years later was his sort of prequel to this. And he did a pretty in-depth look at what modern, non-World War II, basically, military shooters before Modern Warfare looked like to understand why Modern Warfare was as revolutionary as it was. And it's not like that there wasn't games in the genre before then in the same time frame. It's just that everything before it had some sort of pretty big baggage behind it, where you either didn't have those set piece moments that made the scale and the action feel as good as it did, or you had the set piece moments, but they were like stuck in cutscenes, or they just kind of sucked.
interesting.
Yeah.
So it's all
Very
about set
interesting
pieces.
video. Not entirely. Modern Warfare just kind of hit the perfect middle ground between everything. There's a lot of games that came before it, and not a lot. There were games before it that hit the right notes, but didn't hit them at the right time, or didn't hit them in the right order, or it was, out of tune just a little bit, and it just didn't land right.
Interesting.
Of course, plenty of games that were just bad, but
yeah,
Modern Warfare changed. They were like, so Ghost Recon was one of the games that he looked at. Ghost Recon did a lot right, but it was much more focused on the Tom Clancy tactics side of things rather than super soldier, you versus the world kind of stuff that Modern Warfare sets up. And on top of that, technically, just in terms of the graphics, Modern Warfare was well ahead of basically everything else.
Okay.
So it just kind of did everything.
Yeah.
I think that's about it for movies. Have you the Euro Cup happened?
Oh yeah. Man,
there's been some good memes from that too.
That is wild.
Let me see if I can find. Oh, is that actually Fortnite?
Yes, those are LeBron James Fortnite skins.
Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be?
Yeah. Dude, if there's branding and partner deals to be done, Fortnite's not too far behind.
Let me see if I can find. There's some good Twitter memes coming out about the Euro Cup.
Okay, go on.
Let me see if I can.
Who won, by the way?
Italy.
Oh, of course.
It's coming Rome. Haha. Haha.
You see, whenever anything goes on with Europe, you can at least reference over 500 years of history.
Yeah.
When anything happens up here, it's always North versus South because the Civil War is the only thing people study in school.
Yeah. But there's been some really good memes. I'm fond of this one here that has the Mandalorian, and it has the Mandalorian as the rest of Europe roasting England, and then America is Baby Yoda in its little pod looking at the Mandalorian just murdering people. And it's like, haha, yes, T people bad.
That's our whole MO.
It's yeah, that's spot on. I'm here for that.
Yeah. There's never a bad time to kick the British.
Yeah.
George Washington said that.
Mm-hmm. I'd imagine.
Yeah.
And then this was the sort of general mood. Never thought I'd cheer for Italy. How about cheer against England? I could do that.
It's almost like they have a bad reputation from taking over the world.
Something like that.
Yeah.
What's less cool, though, and less fun is the general racist mood of all of England's fans. Not all of England's fans, but there's been a particularly obnoxiously vocal minority of England fans that are just being outright racist.
Against just everybody, or like, is there a certain
Uh,
group?
players for England that are not white specifically.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's your sabotage, man. You're sabotaging yourself.
it's complete bullshit.
T people are bad.
And it's absolutely not all of the fans. It's like all of these incidences, it's a particularly vocal minority, but holy shit are they obnoxious.
You know, as American, when I think of racism, I think of the South. So it's very
Mhm.
interesting to me to imagine racism from another country.
It is definitely different in the way that it is. I don't think that you can, and even in the US, that does end up being a bit of a dangerous, I guess you could say, crutch to lean on because racism is everywhere,
Oh yeah,
particularly today. But it is very easy to just be like, oh yeah, racism was a Confederate thing and kind of gloss over the modern problems. The same way that in England, they don't have regional differences that are so stark like that. So it makes it easy for people to just kind of ignore things.
really.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
But it's definitely still there.
I mean, racism will probably always be here at this rate,
Mm-hmm.
unless you do it mandatory eugenics to make everybody biracial to some degree. Going to be here.
Yeah. You've just said the words mandatory eugenics,
Yep.
and I don't think people will listen to anything after that.
I know. I just made everybody turn this podcast off. You're welcome. Now we can say everything we truly want to say.
Yeah.
Mandatory and eugenics. Name a more iconic pair. I dare you.
Graphic magazine.
Didn't Richard Dawkins make some kind of statement about that?
I don't know.
I think I remember that once, but don't
Richard
clue me.
Dawkins eugenics. I'm sure this won't get any bad search engine optimization things.
Kyril ever thought about becoming a grand wizard?
No.
You know, I'm saying some eugenics way too much in this podcast. I gotta type in "it's bad" to my Google search just so Google doesn't think I'm on to those people. People ask, "What is eugenics and why is this an issue? What is immoral
Ooh.
about eugenics? Was eugenics a good idea? What is positive and negative about eugenics?"
So Richard Dawkins definitely had some things to say about eugenics.
Go on.
I'd forgotten about this, but it's coming back. February 16th, 2020, he said on Twitter, it's one thing to deplore eugenics on ideological, political, moral grounds. It's quite another to conclude that it wouldn't work in practice. Of course it would. It works
Oh,
for cows, horses, pigs, dogs, and roses. Why on earth wouldn't it work for humans? Facts ignore ideology.
oh my gosh. He just Ben Shapiro'd
And
us.
yeah, Twitter did not like that.
Party foul.
I love this. I don't you know Sean, YouTuber,
No, but go on.
does philosophy type stuff, and he just responded with one, two, three, a 5-word reply that just says, "What does work mean, Richard?"
uh,
Hey
jeez.
Richard, I made a video that you may find helpful to watch that debunks many of the fact-based arguments made in favor of eugenics in a fun theatrical piece. Hope you enjoy it. Also, would you be able to fuck off forever?
Oh, it's
Yeah.
beautiful. Remember, kids, it's never a bad time to kick people that believe in eugenics.
Uh, Okay, what else do we have? Um, U.S. is backing out of Afghanistan.
Finally.
Yeah, it's what'd you know? It's being met with controversy.
From who? The oil companies?
No, people who think that the pulling out or the way that the U.S. is pulling out of Afghanistan is wrong. I think it's all bullshit at this point.
I
Like
mean,
how long have we been there for? Like 20 years at this point,
I
right?
don't I don't remember a single day where we haven't been in Afghanistan.
Exactly.
That's our
Yes, that's a
generation.
great way of putting it. Yeah.
I'm
But people are critical that because they're critical that because of the way that the United States is pulling out, that it's going to let Taliban regain its foothold. What can you do at that point? Your options are either completely dismantle the Afghan government and institute your own one, because I'm sure people would like that.
It's always worked for the British.
You let the Taliban do whatever the hell they're going to do, and if the Afghan government lacks either the material or the manpower to actually defend themselves, we've been giving them both for decades now, literally decades. If they can't get there on their own at this point, it sounds like they might not ever.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense to keep doing what we're doing while we're there indefinitely. You can't just sit in this middle ground of funneling money into places just for it to disappear into people's pockets.
It's really just that, too.
Yeah, because that's what's happening. The U.S. has been giving both, physical as well as technical guidance on basically how the Afghan government can defend themselves based on the actions, and the teachings of what the U.S. has been doing while they're there. And if it comes down to it now that when the U.S. leaves, they can't still defend themselves after this long, I don't know what else you can do.
Yeah.
The U.S. can't stay there forever. Might as well just rip the band-aid off at this point.
I mean, at this point, we can just buy them.
Mm-hmm. Basically. But I'm sure no one would complain about that.
No one.
No one at all. Cuba is having protests.
Yes.
Where is this?
Go Cuba.
Thousands rally against government as economy struggles. Marched in cities, including the capital of Havana, shouting freedom and down with the dictatorship. I know that there is this is, as someone who is American and lives in America, I am trying to choose my words carefully. Because the U.S. isn't exactly known for promoting preservation of rights when it comes to Cuba.
You don't say.
I'm just going to leave it at that.
Come on,
But
Carl.
it's certainly interesting.
Let's say the really bad stuff. Come on. I've already said mandatory eugenics. We can't go further.
I don't know. I find a lot of the discussion over this that's just like, yeah, it's about time to be just kind of like, where have you been? It's been like we're not the good guys here.
We're not. I'm sorry. There's very few situations around the world where we're the good guys. We're more like the blood-sucking mosquito that you really don't want to show
Yeah.
up.
Cubans are angry about the collapse of the economy, food shortages, and the government's handling the pandemic. And so the last one there, yeah, not a ton there, but collapse of the economy and food shortages. I wouldn't be surprised if the actions of the U.S. had some impact on that.
Shh. That's like rule 1 in the art of war, dude. You cut off enemy supply lines so they starve themselves.
Man, their president almost had a good point here. You ever get that where it's like someone says something and it's just like, yeah, good job, go you, and then they say the next thing and you're like, oh no.
Yes, that's Twitter.
President Miguel Diaz-Canel is blaming the U.S. for the turmoil, calling its tight sanctions on Cuba, which have been in place in various forms since 1962, a policy of economic suffocation. Good. Agree. Yes. Next line. He said the protesters were mercenaries hired by the U.S. to destabilize the country and called for his supporters to go out and defend the revolution.
Party foul.
Party foul indeed.
Ouch. That is like that. That's like straight out of the January 6th insurrection book.
Yeah. Fake news. Fake protesters. I will say Biden did say the Cuban people are bravely asserting fundamental and universal rights, which, mm, yes, good, but maybe make sure that those fundamental and universal rights are protected in our country too.
Ouch. Wait, the Cubans like fundamental rights or just citizen rights in general?
In general,
I was about to say, yeah.
because if it's our president saying it and executive order hasn't happened yet, maybe go ahead and do that, Mr. Biden.
Mr. Biden.
You have the power now.
You got the touch. You got the power.
Super. Oh, we already had another record break on this. This must be part of like something. So I heard recently that a sealed copy of, I don't know if it was the original Legend of Zelda or if it was some a sequel to it, but it sold for some absurd amount of money. And apparently, Super Mario 64, a sealed graded copy, has sold for a record $1.5 million at auction.
Elon really wanted that copy.
Did he?
I'm
Why did he buy
sure.
it?
I don't know. That seems like an Elon Musk thing.
Probably. Yeah, here we go. The sale dwarfed another record breaker, an original Legend of Zelda cartridge set just 2 days before that sold for $870,000 on Friday.
Ooh,
That one was for the NES.
ooh. So they just gonna keep those in the cart, or are they gonna, you know?
Oh yeah, no, these are like original factory sealed things.
I'm just
These are
saying.
being they have their value exclusively because they're like single digits numbers of these that are in this kind of a condition probably.
I'm just saying, man. It's a real shame a good game like that being hidden away.
Mhm. Because nobody can play The Legend of Zelda or Super Mario 64.
No, those games are forgotten. I don't even know what's a Mario.
What's a Mario? I don't know. I think it's what Nintendo tried. Like remember when Sonic was first starting to get really popular and Nintendo tried to have an answer? I think it was something to do with that campaign.
Oh yeah, like the guy who's all about pizza pasta.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can literally buy a copy of Super Mario 64 for $20.
really.
Yeah, on eBay.
What a schlub paying that much for something you can get that cheap. You know, if he
Yeah.
really wanted it, he could have just gotten an emulator online.
Get the Super Mario 64 DS version for only $12.
Ooh, man. Schlubs.
Not to
You,
mention the myriad digital releases that we've now had.
you broke. Spend so much money on Mario. Me, woke, buys it for $20 on eBay. We are not
Yeah.
the same.
Curious what you can get a copy of The Legend of Zelda for. Someone has one for sale for $97,000 on eBay.
Why not?
Why not? Someone did it. You could too.
I found one for $70.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that someone's. It must be. I'm gonna click it. Why not? It's eBay. What's the worst that it could be? Oh, this is Ocarina of Time. Okay.
Never mind, that game's an actual masterpiece.
Yeah. 4.9 out of 5 stars. Who gave it a 1 star? Oh, they're reviewing the Wii U version. Understandable.
Fair enough.
This is hilarious. Typical prices across the web. Low, $20. High, 35. This one, 97,900.
Can I show you a listing I found on eBay?
Sure.
I don't
Hit me.
I don't understand why I didn't think this would happen, but this happened.
I just sure.
For those of you at home,
49.49. Nice.
yeah. For you at home, this is a very overly sexualized photo of The Legend of Zelda for sale.
I wonder when she plugs her OnlyFans.
Ooh, good question. Is that username the same as her own OnlyFans? Oh my god, their whole account is just doing this.
Oh, I don't doubt it. It's effective marketing, you know?
It's
It
very.
catches people's eyes. Yeah. You can easily find a copy of The Legend of Zelda for like $40.
That's pretty good.
Damaged-ish ones are like even less than that. So
I don't know what it is about eBay, but every time I come on here and I start looking around, I just feel like I'm going through someone's garage sale.
you are. You totally are.
Am
Do you watch Dank Pods?
No, I do not. Go on.
I highly recommend it. I'll send you a link to his YouTube channel. He is an audio guy, I guess you could say, that does a bunch of stuff on audio equipment, but also just as much about like old mid like early 2000s MP3 players,
Okay.
where he will look at like the really shitty ones. And one thing that he does is he goes on these shopping specials at a retail store uh, in Australia called Cashies.
Okay.
And that's what he calls it. It's basically like a dollar store kind of deal, but he calls it a garage sale with dedicated business hours. And it's very accurate.
Beautiful.
It's very entertaining. It's very fun. Okay.
What else do we have in the news?
I think that's about it. Apparently, the UK has banned their fifth neo-Nazi group, which, good job, guys.
Only
Keep
their
going.
fifth?
Only their fifth. Apparently, it's as a result of some new law that was passed.
Oh, never mind then.
So they're getting them. An American neo-Nazi group which is led from Russia.
Come again?
Apparently, they've banned. They've not arrested.
Well, still.
So no longer allowed in the UK with that.
What is up with these Russian groups like infiltrating America, then going to the Britain?
Yeah. Have you heard of the sort of falling out of the Russian COVID propaganda stuff?
No, go on.
First, there was a ton of propaganda around COVID that was being pushed predominantly by like the Russian troll farms kinds of places into the U.S. and other foreign nations.
Okay.
Because that's the kind of destabilization that that's just what they do. That's their job. That's how they do it.
Yeah.
But it's apparently also filtered down into their own like culture, to the point now where skepticism in Russia about vaccines in particular is causing extremely low vaccination rates compared to their contemporaries across Europe.
Ha! Got him! That's beautiful, man. Ever hurt yourself in confusion?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh. Question for you. Have you been following the Drake Bell case?
I have heard about it. I know it's if you were a Disney star in the 2000s and your name is Drake, you're not doing too great on the publicity front right about now. That's about all I've heard.
Yeah. Drake Bell just got sentenced.
Oh, he got sentenced. Okay.
Yeah, 2 years.
Oof. Probation, community service.
Gotta make an apology video on YouTube.
2 years probation and child endangerment case. Yep.
Yeah.
It's disappointing for sure.
I never thought it would be this simple, but he found a way. He found a way.
Damn it.
What?
It's terrible.
It just takes some time to realize. I liked Drake and Josh. Thank you very much. I'm very disappointed.
No, I did too.
Yeah.
I am as well. It is. It almost matches the disappointment that I felt when I saw that he was in a superhero movie.
Oh, he was. Yo, superhero movie. I want a sequel to that now that it's an actual multi-million-dollar industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just make sure it's made by someone who is at least slightly competent.
Yeah.
Not even good, just competent. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. I don't know. I would love to do my own movie one of these days. I feel like I could do so much better than those movies. with a quarter of the budget. Movie studios hit me up.
Oh yeah.
Also, I still stand on our offer. Any major studio that wants to do an Aragon reboot,
Oh God, why?
come on, we could do it.
I don't want to.
You don't want
Read the
to?
friggin' book. Read the damn book.
Fair enough.
That's what I say. Like if you make okay, the problem with a good Aragon reboot is that if you make a good Aragon movie, you're just gonna get sued by Disney for copying Star Wars.
They own Aragon though.
They'll still find a way. Don't worry.
Disney will sue itself for money laundering purposes.
Absolutely.
I would believe that. I mean, let's think this through, right? If you make a movie that's very much a deviation of a already established property that you already own, are you just plagiarizing yourself at that point?
Basically.
I mean, that's what Disney's been doing for like the last 10 years, but
Yep.
yeah. Oh boy. Is this the end of the show?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Well, I'm the infamous Orion, and I'm currently cleaning lint out of my cell phone with a pin.
Nice. I'm Chiral, and I've been a schmo.
And this has been the Two Schmoes Show, ladies and gentlemen. Keep your nose clean.